It is a summer night. Your backyard has been chirping since June, a sound so constant, so reliable, that you stopped hearing it weeks ago. It became part of the background, part of the night, part of what summer sounds like when everything is the way it is supposed to be. Then, at 11 p.m., it stops. Not gradually, not one cricket at a time trailing off into quiet. All at once, complete silence. The kind of silence that does not feel like quiet. It feels like something removed something from the air. And something in your body notices before your mind does. You are not imagining it. You are not being dramatic. That feeling, that small, instinctive alertness that just moved through you, is real, and it is trying to tell you something. Tonight, we are going to find out exactly what. Because that silence was not nothing. Crickets do not go quiet by accident. What just entered your yard, or what has been living beneath it, triggered every cricket in the area to make the same decision simultaneously. A decision made not by one small insect, but by dozens of them, all at once, without any signal you could hear or see. And that decision tells you more about your property than most homeowners ever stop to realize. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what that silence was telling you. You will know how to read it, how to tell the difference between a harmless predator passing through and something happening beneath your soil that deserves your full attention tonight. But the foundation is not even the most important thing the silence reveals. We will get to that. First, let us talk about what a cricket actually is, because most people have lived alongside them their entire lives without ever really understanding what they are listening to. The field cricket, Gryllus bimaculatus, is one of the most acoustically sophisticated insects on the planet. What you hear on a summer night is not random noise. It is not simply an insect making sound because it can. Only male crickets chirp, and they do so through a process called stridulation, the rapid scraping of a specialized file on one wing across a ridge on the other. A movement so precise, so controlled, that researchers studying it have compared its mechanical consistency to the movement of a finely tuned instrument. But the chirp is only half the story. What makes the cricket extraordinary is not what it produces, it is what it detects. Crickets have tympanal organs, hearing structures located not on their heads but on their front legs, just below the knee. These organs do not simply detect sound the way your ears do, they detect vibration, ground movement, pressure changes in the air, changes in humidity so subtle that no instrument in your home could register them. Scientists have measured the sensitivity of these organs. A cricket can detect vibrations as small as 0.1 micrometers. To give you a sense of what that means, that is more than 1,000 times more sensitive than the human sense of touch. 1,000 times. And here is the part that changes everything. When a cricket detects a threat, a predator, a vibration, a change in the environment significant enough to register as danger, it stops chirping. Instantly, and the crickets adjacent to it, detecting both the threat and the sudden silence of their neighbor, stop as well. Then the next ones, then the next. The silence moves outward through your yard in a wave, a biological alarm signal traveling faster than you can track it. Scientists call this the acoustic shadow effect. By the time it reaches your ears, it has already passed through every cricket between the source and where you are standing. The silence you heard is not the beginning of the alarm, it is the end of it. Now, what triggers it? Because this is the part that matters for your home, your yard, and your foundation. And there are 4 possible answers, each one telling you something different. The first is predator presence. An owl landing in a tree at the edge of your yard. A fox moving through the grass along the fence line. A raccoon pushing through the garden border. A snake, and we will come back to snakes, entering the perimeter. This is the most common trigger. The crickets detect movement, weight, or vibration from an animal large enough to register as a threat, and they go silent together. If the silence lasts 2 to 3 minutes, and then the chirping gradually returns, starting from the edges and moving back toward the center, this is almost certainly what happened. A predator passed through. It moved on. The crickets confirmed its absence and resumed. No action needed. This is your yard working exactly the way it is supposed to. The second trigger is underground vibration, and this is where your foundation enters the story. Crickets that live along the perimeter of your home, in the soil near your foundation walls, in the gap between your driveway and your slab, in the earth beside your basement, are in constant contact with the ground your home is built on. Their tympanal organs are registering that ground continuously. Every night, when the soil shifts, when concrete settles, when water moves beneath a slab, when a void forms under your foundation from soil erosion, the ground vibration changes. Not dramatically, not in a way you could feel standing in your kitchen, but enough for a cricket to register as wrong. Enough for every cricket near that section of your home to go quiet. If you notice silence that seems to originate specifically near one wall of your house, near the foundation on the north side, near the basement corner, along the edge of the driveway, and that silence recurs on multiple nights, in the same location, without an obvious animal cause, pay attention. A structural engineer charges between $300 and $500 to inspect a foundation for early signs of movement and stress. The crickets along your home's perimeter are doing a version of this continuously, for free, every single night. The question is only whether you know how to read what they are reporting. The third trigger is moisture change. Crickets are deeply sensitive to humidity. They require specific moisture levels to survive and chirp, which is why they are loudest on warm, humid nights and quieter when the air is dry. But sudden silence related to moisture is different from gradual seasonal change. It is abrupt, localized. If there is a pipe failure beneath your slab, a slow leak developing behind a wall, or a change in the water table affecting the soil around your home, the moisture in that specific area of soil changes faster than the surrounding ground. Crickets living in that zone detect the shift and respond to it. This kind of silence is often misread. Homeowners notice the quiet, assume it means nothing, and move on. Then, weeks or months later, they find water damage in the exact area where the crickets went silent first. The cricket was not wrong. It was just speaking a language nobody had taught them to listen for. The fourth trigger is atmospheric pressure. Before a storm, hours before rain arrives, before clouds even appear on the horizon, barometric pressure drops. Crickets detect this shift and respond to it. But this silence is brief, and when chirping returns after a pressure-related silence, the frequency changes. The chirp rate slows or alters in a way that reflects the new atmospheric conditions. This is where one of the strangest and most legitimate pieces of cricket science comes in: Dolbear's Law, a real, peer-reviewed scientific formula developed by physicist Amos Dolbear in 1897 and verified repeatedly since. Count the number of cricket chirps in 14 seconds. Add 40. The result is the approximate outdoor temperature in Fahrenheit. Not an estimate, not folklore. A formula accurate enough that scientists still reference it today. The insect chirping outside your window is a living thermometer. It always has been. Most people just never knew to count. Now let us address what most people believe about cricket silence, because most of it is wrong. The first belief is that cricket chirping is random background noise with no information value. This is false. Every component of cricket acoustic behavior, the rate of chirping, the pattern, the duration, the silence, is biologically regulated and environmentally responsive. There is no randomness in it. There is only signal. The second belief is that crickets go quiet at night because they are resting. This is false in the most fundamental way. Crickets are nocturnal. Night is when they are most active, most communicative, most alert. Nighttime silence from a cricket is not rest. It is a response. The two things are not remotely similar. The third belief is the most important one to correct. Many people think that if they notice silence, it is because one cricket near them went quiet, and it simply feels more obvious. But remember the acoustic shadow. By the time the silence reaches your ears, the alarm has already moved through every cricket between the source and where you are standing. You are not hearing one cricket go quiet. You are hearing the last echo of an alarm that started somewhere else entirely. You are not the first one who heard it. You are the last. So how do you read what your yard is actually telling you? 3 situations, 3 different meanings. Silence that lasts 2 to 3 minutes, then gradually returns from the edges of your yard inward. Predator passage. Something moved through. It left. Normal. Healthy. Your yard's alarm system confirmed the threat resolved itself. No action needed beyond perhaps noting what time it happened. Silence that originates near a specific section of your home's perimeter, a particular wall, a corner, the edge of a driveway or patio, and recurs on multiple evenings without a visible animal cause. This is a moisture or structural signal. Walk that perimeter in daylight. Look for soil that is softer than the surrounding area. Look for hairline cracks in the foundation or slab edge that were not there before. Look for water staining on concrete that does not match the rain patterns around it. Then call someone who can look deeper than the surface. Silence that extends for hours, across the entire yard, unusual for the season, with no return. This is an atmospheric or larger environmental event. Check the weather forecast, and if it happens repeatedly over several nights without a weather explanation, check for a significant predator that may have established a territory in or near your yard. Snakes in particular, specifically larger species, will suppress cricket activity in an area for extended periods simply by their continued presence in the soil. The practical step is simple. The next time silence happens, note 3 things. The time, the location in your yard where it seems to originate or concentrate, and how long it lasts. 3 nights of that data tells you more than any single moment of silence ever could. Your yard has been running a continuous environmental monitoring system every single night of this summer. You just never had the manual to read it. Until now. But there is one more thing. And this one goes further than your foundation, further than your yard, further than anything we have discussed so far. For over 1,000 years, long before seismographs, before satellites, before any instrument that human beings could build, farmers in rural Japan and villagers in parts of rural China documented something in their agricultural records. Something they had observed across generations and treated as reliable enough to act on. Before earthquakes, the crickets went silent. Not during, before. Modern seismologists studying animal behavior as a precursor to seismic events began looking at the historical records more seriously in the latter half of the 20th century. What they found was not folklore. It was a consistent, documentable pattern across multiple species. And crickets were among the most reliable early responders in the data. The reason connects directly to everything we have already discussed. Earthquakes generate primary waves, P waves, that travel through the ground ahead of the seismic event that humans feel. These waves are imperceptible to human senses, but they are not imperceptible to an insect with vibration-sensing organs on its legs that can detect movement of 0.1 micrometers. The crickets felt what was coming. The ones in the fields near villages that kept records went silent hours before the ground moved. The farmers who knew what that silence meant moved their families. Think about that for one moment. The same creature you have been hearing every summer night your entire life. The same chirping you stopped paying attention to so long ago it became invisible, has been running a detection system so sensitive that it registers ground movement decades before the buildings above it show any sign of stress. Your foundation is sitting on the same ground those crickets are monitoring every night, which means the silence near your basement wall is not just a cricket going quiet, it is a report. The next time your yard goes silent tonight, stop. Do not reach for anything. Do not turn on a light. Do not try to find whatever caused it. Just stand there for a moment and let the silence finish what it is trying to tell you. Note where it is coming from. Note how long it lasts. Note how you feel standing in it. Because that instinctive alertness, that small animal awareness that moves through you before your mind catches up, is the same thing that kept human beings alive for a very long time before we built walls around ourselves and stopped listening to what was happening outside them. The crickets in your yard are not background noise. They are a language. And now, for the first time, you know how to listen. If your yard has ever gone silent in a way that felt different, or if you have noticed crickets concentrated near a specific part of your home and never understood why. Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one, and sometimes what you have already observed becomes the next video. If someone you know has been ignoring the sounds in their yard, or the silence, share this with them tonight. It might matter more than either of you expects.